Hello and welcome to PSY1011 Oral Presentation, Assignment 1. Topic 1 is being done today. Can someone's personality traits be accurately reflected in their use of social media? By Tom Rendall. The chosen article looked at was the effect of personality styles, level of introversion-extroversion on social media use. This was done by Aaron Hauerbauer in 2010. Now, the number of hours spent on social media has been hypothesized in previous literature to share a positive relationship with that of behavior type. Hauerbauer investigated this notion due to the growing conviction that a defining characteristic of an extrovert was their ability to expose themselves within the environment, whether that be online or in person. Past literature really focused, according to the author, on introverts using social media as a way to not deal with face-to-face interactions. However, the belief of this author was that extroverts actually use social media as another platform to interact with others. Hence, the aim of this study was to investigate the relationship between personality and social media activity. Their hypothesis was that an extrovert would use social media in greater amounts regarding time than introverts. Summary of the method section. The participants of the study were students from Elon University in North Carolina, where 405 subjects participated from the overall population of college students. The subjects were exposed to an online survey on surveymonkey.com, where they had to answer 10 questions across 3 themes, and these themes were overall use, personality type, and demographics. As such, this study relied on the self's opinion on the behavior type, as well as their judgment on others, rather than making a derived assessment. Here we see a few examples from the survey, including 2 of the themes, Facebook use and the personality type. These questions included multi-choice, such as question 1 shown here. How much time would you spend on Facebook daily, wherein the students would simply just circle the answer that best suited them. Summary of results and overall conclusion. In regards to overall use, theme 1, students answered relatively close to that of the hypothesis, with just a summary being around 31% of students answering between 30 to 60 minutes using Facebook daily, 25% less than 30 minutes, and an overwhelming 43.2% over 60 minutes. Here we can see that most college students from the population like to use social media, in this case Facebook, for over 60 minutes per day. Theme 2, personality types, had the subjects answer personal questions about themselves and about the social media use. Most participants, over 66%, preferred face-to-face interactions rather than online interactions, which alluded to the fact that they were more extroverted in that they preferred in-person interactions rather than that of online. And thirdly, the demographics. We see 405 college students from Elon University, as described before. However, 77% were female, wherein about 23% were male. So that means that the gender discrepancy was quite prevalent in this study. Regarding that of year levels, it was quite evenly spread across, about 20 to 25% per year level, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that was quite good for this study. And the overall conclusion saw that the social media provides another outlet for extroverts to interact with people that they normally wouldn't come into contact with. So really summarizing that is just saying extroverts just have more opportunities to talk to people and spread their personality across online and in person. Analysis, methods and design. The strengths of this study was a relatively large sample size, over 400 college students. The conclusion formed a good basis for future research in that it should focus on extroverts rather than introverted individuals, wherein past literature would tend to focus on introverts, as explained by the author, due to the thought that introverts use social media as a way of avoiding real-world social interactions. However, the foundation for future studies, as evidenced by this research, was that extroverts like to use social media more than introverts due to the additional platform they have to interact with other individuals that they normally wouldn't be able to. And this challenged pre-existing research, which is always helpful in the advancement of science. Limitations of the methods and design was that there was a vast discrepancy in gender. 77% were female. This is due to the convenient sampling, where the college students would simply log online if they wanted to and complete the survey online. Future research would normally probably require a 50-50, so cluster sampling, other methods of sampling could be very helpful in future studies rather than just the convenience. The questions also relied on self-interpretation of one's personality. They would simply answer a multi-choice question on what kind of personality suited them. And this self-interpretation may sway the results, as people are not always truthful in their responses. Not that they're trying to lie, but just simply may not describe themselves in ways that they actually are. An introverted person might be shy about saying that they are shy, and hence say, "Oh, I'm more outgoing," when they're really not. And hence this leads into the question choice and delivery. Perhaps more open-ended questions where it requires a bit more thought than a simple circle the multi-choice answer could be quite helpful in future studies. And herein lies an alternative for the future study, which is a social media diary, wherein college students, if you wanted to go that route, would just simply jot down when are they using social media, why are they using social media, and they would be able to form their own answers, which would take greater time in looking at the results, but it would create a much more specific and better evidence for this hypothesis that extroverts like to use social media more than that of introverts. Analysis of the results. The strengths of this study was it had a conclusive result in that extroverted individuals are the heaviest Facebook researchers. Of the approximately 40% of people who used Facebook over 60 minutes per day, a lot of them, over 66%, said that they prefer face-to-face interactions rather than online, meaning that they like face-to-face interaction, so they're a bit more extroverted. Questions along that nature were answered in that tone, so that left a conclusive result. It also opens up future research opportunities, as explained before, for extroverts and their relationship with social media. Why do they want to use social media more than introverts, which would always be implied as being the main users, as they don't need that face-to-face interaction. They can simply just log online and do their communication that way, so it creates more questions. Limitations of this study was that the self-personality diagnosis does leave room for error. A simple multi-choice question doesn't necessarily reveal the personality of the user. This necessitates further research in that perhaps face-to-face questions by maybe psychologist or even just the researcher himself could maybe get the truth out. Not that they're lying, again, but just to make sure that the students are being honest with their responses, not just simply saying, "Oh, I'm extroverted," because that seems like the right answer. More in-depth and personal questions would get the truth of that. And not that it is a limitation, but the result also creates further questions in that why do extroverts prefer to use social media more than introverts? As we said, there was another platform for them to talk to people, but is this satisfying? Would they prefer to use visual aids? Facebook does have photos and some videos, but very often people don't use those features. So is Facebook the greatest measurement for extroverts using social media? Perhaps a more interactive, like Snapchat or other social media platforms could be used. And also, when looking at these results, it's not just a simple matter of saying, "Oh, extroverts use social media more than introverts, so introverts don't like social media." because most past literature says that introverts prefer social media, so they don't have that face-to-face interaction. They can just go online, be hiding behind, not hiding, but being protected almost from, possible confrontation and things of that nature. So a lot further questions are coming about from this study. It creates new research opportunities, and this author has said that they would like to continue along with this study line and answer these questions that this research has created. Here is the reference for this oral presentation, Harbaugh 2010, The Effect of Personality Styles on Social Media Use. And thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day.